Hi, welcome. Thank you for tuning in to this week's astrology conversation around this full moon in Scorpio that we are having Friday, May 1st. Let me tell you right off the bat, it is a fucking doozy. This is not a fun one. We will be feeling this in the couple days leading up to the full moon. We're already in this energy. This energy is peaking on the full moon. It is loud, it is unpleasant, just warning you, but there is deep magic embedded in this full moon and it's destined. This is a necessary step on our path of evolution, so let's get into it. Every full moon, the sun and the moon are 180 degrees opposite each other. The sun is in Taurus, meaning the moon is in Scorpio. Right off the bat, Scorpio new moons are stormy. They are moody. Scorpio is the sign of the descent, of death, of rebirth, of transformation. It is the underworld. It is all things taboo: sex, magic, money, death. So the moon is already in this dark and stormy, emotionally charged underworld place. The sun is in Taurus, this very earthly, grounded sign, and the sun is together in the sky with Lilith. Lilith is the wild woman archetype. She is the part of the feminine that would not be subservient, that will not be repressed, that will not be demonized, that will choose to be exiled at great cost to herself over being subservient. I really love how Woman Who Runs with the Wolves describes the wild woman archetype as the wild instinctual nature that is the foundation of the feminine psyche. Lilith, this wild woman aspect, this part of the feminine that will not be subservient, that is true to her wild instinctual nature, first of all, lives inside each of us, and second, if you're a woman, it is the foundation for your psyche. Now, this energy can be varying degrees of alive inside of us, and honestly, this full moon is a good time to check in with how alive is the wild woman inside me? How in touch am I with my own wild instinctual nature? The sun, the conscious part of self, being with Lilith, the wild woman archetype, is going to make this very in our face, is going to make this very loud. We'll circle back to this in a minute because this is a part of this big theme that is playing out over the course of this full moon in ourselves, and I'm sure we will see this out in the world as well. Right off the bat, we're already seeing themes of depth, underworld, the repressed feminine coming to light, secrets, unconscious pattern surfing, power, standing in one's sovereign power, and what are you giving your power away to? And this is right off the bat. We haven't even got into it, y'all. This full moon is a doozy. Okay, we also have Venus in a loose trine to Pluto. She already made it exact, so it's separating, but full moons illuminate everything. They make everything loud, and this is certainly flavoring this full moon. Pluto is Lord of the Underworld himself. Pluto is the evolutionary current that is running through all of life. It is this evolutionary force that propels life forward. Also speaks to raw, pure power. He is the Lord, the master of the unconscious and what is in your unconscious depths. So him in a trine to Venus, this is a flowing, harmonious aspect. Pluto is also the ruler of Scorpio, so we see these scorpionic themes intensified: death, rebirth, descent into the underworld, transmutation, sex, power, money, all things taboo, the underworld, right? These themes are amplified. And we have Venus, who is, she's a personal planet. She's a planet that we are very aware of. She represents the feminine, our values, beauty, our body, the lover aspect of the feminine. She's very close to the conscious part of self. We are very aware of Venus. Pluto, maybe not so much. We may or may not be in relationship to Pluto consciously. So Pluto being in this flowing, harmonious aspect with this part of the feminine that we are very aware of are going to make these things louder. They're going to bring these themes more into your face, and you might be feeling them through the body. The body might be giving you a lot of signals here. This can show up as tenseness in the body, like tense muscles. It can show up in blocks in different parts of the body. It can show up in illness and ailments and injuries, and not necessarily the big things like a broken arm, but it just might be, oh, I have a twinge in this one specific area of my back. That might be something surfacing. I know I get a lot of my unconscious surfacing through my back, through my spine, through my muscles. Pluto is an evolutionary planet, is a generational planet. So an entire generation will have Pluto in the same sign. It takes a really long time to move through the zodiac. I'm getting the sense that this Pluto-Venus aspect can really clue us into what societal or ancestral conditioning are we still living by? What psychic structures have been imposed upon us by society, by our family, that we are still buying into? And oftentimes these are unconscious, right? Pluto, unconscious, generational, is in this flowing aspect to Venus, our values. This is a prime time to contemplate, are these psychic societal structures that we are living by in alignment to our personal values? Another thing to contemplate is, what is our relationship to our own sovereign power? Think sovereign unto self. I am the creator, the co-creator of my reality. I live and play by my own rules. I am writing my own story. What is our relationship to our own sovereign power? Or are we giving our power away to these subconscious societal psychic structures? This is a really good time to contemplate beliefs and values, and if we are living by our own beliefs and values or ones that have been imposed upon us. Venus is also square the nodes of fate. So a square is a challenging aspect. It is a 90-degree angle. It is a point of integration. The nodes of fate, our destiny line, our south node, our karma, where we've come from, everything we came into this life with, what we've mastered, and what we are clinging and still attached to. And our north node, our dharma, our destiny, our soul's path of growth in this lifetime, what is perhaps unfamiliar to us because we have not yet experienced, but the soul is longing to experience. It is our destiny line, the line that we are walking in this life. Venus square the nodes of fate means that this is destined. This moment in time is destined. This is exactly the right, perfect time for these things to be coming to the surface, to be integrated, to be let go of. And whatever choices that you make at this time are going to affect your future. You are actively choosing your timeline. The cool thing about the nodes of fate is they only receive. They don't impose upon. So for example, when we have aspects in astrology like Venus and Pluto, we just talked about, they're in a trine. They're affecting each other. There is this harmonious energy flowing between the two. Venus is affecting Pluto, Pluto is affecting Venus. But whenever the nodes are at play, they only receive. They're only imprinted upon, right? Like our destiny line is imprinted upon. So Venus being square the nodes of fate, this is a destined time. This is coming up at the exact right moment in time. And the choices that we make as conscious co-creators affects our destiny, our future path forward. The future is not this like written permanent thing that is just imposed upon us, and that is just the life that we are going to live. It is constantly evolving and changing. With every choice that you are making, you are affecting your future. So if you choose to really be conscious, to work with this energy, to do the shadow work that is being asked of you at this time, is going to have positive effects on your future timeline. You are choosing to walk more down your destiny line. If you numb out, if you avoid, if you disassociate, that is also going to have an impact on your path forward. These things don't go away. We just repress them further in the unconscious, which they continue to control us. Again, Pluto, what is your relationship to power? Or are things unconsciously controlling you? It doesn't always have to be these external things, these societal structures that were imposed upon us, even though that is a very big one. It can also be the things that we are repressing because we don't want to look at, and then they're all muddled around in our unconscious. And I think Carl Jung has a quote that says, what we don't make conscious unconsciously rules our life, and we call it fate. back to this trine that we were talking about. Venus, the lover's aspect of the feminine, the part of the feminine that we are very aware of. Pluto, lord of the underworld, right? They're in a trine. Pluto is together with Juno. Juno is the goddess of sacred contracts, sacred marriages. She's like these soul bonds. And like, yes, it can be looked at in relationships, like these destined soul bonds that hold a lot of weight in them. They have soul lessons in them. It is something bigger than these little like ego choices that we make, but it can also be with like work, with friendship, with home, with things out in the world, whatever is this sacred soul contract that holds a lot of juice and a lot of life for whatever your soul lessons here are in this life. So sacred contracts together with this lord of the underworld, this deep evolutionary force in Aquarius, the sign of the collective, right? So it's like Juno, Pluto together are essentially asking, what are we truly bound to serve? And it is the collective unconscious, the unconscious itself. Because when we are not serving the unconscious and the evolution of the unconscious, it continues to rule us. Okay, Venus, Pluto and Juno in a trine to Pele, the Hawaiian goddess, volcanic goddess, the goddess of fire, of volcanoes, of creation and destruction. She is in essence creative life force, this creative destructive life force, right? Volcanoes, the eruption of the volcano, it can destroy land, but in that desecration lays the foundation for new life to birth. It is creation and destruction all in one. There is no separating the two, and it is this vital life force to its fullest, right? Like a volcano is not going to like slowly and subtly trickle life force out into the land. It is going to erupt and explode with all of this life force that destroys and creates land. So Pele in Libra could be relational destruction, destroying what is no longer in right relationship, and that can be between people, whether it's intimate partnerships, friends, family, destroying what is no longer in right relationship, but it can also be with us and the earth, with us in our home, with us and anything. We are in relationship to all of life. So we have this Pele creative life force, Pluto, Juno, this evolutionary force, and Venus, this expression of feminine values and beauty. And I'm really feeling into this as this creative life force and this evolutionary force power in the depths coming through the feminine. And it's pointing to the feminine in her wild, most sovereign, most volcanic form is not the enemy of beauty and relationships and art. She is beauty and relationships and art in its most undomesticated form. We've been kind of flirting around this theme of this dynamic of masculine and feminine that is at play. We are seeing this largely in the world. This is a major theme of 2026, and we are continuously watching it unfold. I've talked about it in previous lunar videos, and this theme is unfolding again. And with this new moon, this full moon falling on the 1st of May, I imagine this dynamic is going to continue unfolding for the rest of May. The big lesson that the feminine is learning in 2026 is to reclaim herself, reclaim her sovereign power, the parts of the feminine that have been demonized, denied, repressed. And what is that? Her life force, her sovereign power. At the beginning of the video, we mentioned the sun being with Lilith. This is in our conscious mind. It is very loud, the parts of the feminine that have been demonized, denied, repressed. For a very long time in history, women have been told that they have to be skinny. They have been told what they have to look like, what they have to do, what a woman is. It's the feminine energy. Women have been put into this box of what it is to be women, of what it is to be beautiful, of what it is to be feminine. And no box, no container can hold the fullness of the feminine energy. Feminine energy is the expression of life itself, and the expression of life is not always pretty. It is not always cute and dainty and small. The expression of life can sometimes be the wild explosion of a volcano. Right? So we've got the sun with Lilith making this really loud and really in your face. I will no longer be small. I will no longer be subservient. I will no longer put myself in the boxes that you told me to be in. And this is so much bigger than our little stories. It is going to come up in our personal stories, and we are going to see the ways that either as a woman, we have made ourselves smaller because our relationships told us to, because our family told us to, because society told us to, or as a man in the ways that we've asked women to be small, or we all hold a feminine and masculine energy within ourselves, right? So even if you are in a male body, you may be feeling this energy of where have you made yourself small. Not only is this going to show up in our personal stories, but it is so much bigger than that, right? Like the personal unconscious is the doorway into the collective unconscious. So our personal stories are the doorway into these larger collective evolutionary themes that are unfolding. How long have women been repressed? How long have women's power been taken away from them? How long have women been told what they can do, what they can wear, who they can marry, what kind of jobs they can have? It is so much bigger than us and this lifetime, and that is not to deny our own personal experience. It is to wake us up to the fact that our personal experience stems from this collective evolutionary societal energy that has been playing out this story for thousands of years, and we are waking up to this now because it is time for this energy to be transmuted. It is time to start living in a different way. This full moon is a continuation of that story. The woman, the feminine, is reclaiming more of her sovereign power. Whether you are a woman or a man, we are all the co-creators of our life. We are the writers of our own story. We get to choose what we want to create and what we want to participate in. And most importantly, we have direct access to divinity within ourselves. We have all of the answers and all of the gnosis inside of ourselves. This is what sovereign unto self means. Can I be truly sovereign in my being? What am I giving my power away to? Am I giving my power away to a relationship? Am I giving my power away to another person who makes me feel safe? Am I giving my power away to these societal stories that have been playing out in my head, that have been imposed upon me? Am I giving my power away to my family who tells me what I should be and what I should do? Or am I taking my power back? Am I reclaiming? This grand trine that we talked about between Venus, Pele, Pluto, and Juno, it is in air. Meaning a couple things. One, this is the air that we are breathing. This story is surrounding us, and it wants to be talked about. It wants to be written about. It wants to be more than just an internal experience. It wants to be expressed. And because this is the air that we are breathing, you will feel it. It will be in your face. It is so loud. We will experience it personally, and we will probably also see it reflected into the world. Just like a fun little astrology fact for you, the Epstein files and the Rape Academy all have astrological ties to them. Like, this is destined because this is what is alive in our unconscious, and we are saying no more. Right? Like, we've known about rape for a long time, and we've kind of turned a blind eye to it because it was so taboo, it was so gnarly that we didn't really want to look at it. We didn't really want to deal with it. And now these things are coming up, and we are seeing such a collective response to them because we will not continue to be blinded by this anymore. We will not continue to turn a blind eye. We are excavating these things out of the depths, out of the shadows, because no more. Feminine reclamation, no more. Now, with all those deep, gnarly depths, we do have a couple of redeeming aspects. One of them being Hygeia, trine and sextile, the nodes of fate. We've talked about the nodes of fate, our destiny line. Hygeia is the Kundalini goddess of miraculous healing and awakening. She is so full of this vibrant life force, this like omniscient aliveness and joy, this high voltage, high magic feminine. And her in positive flowing aspect to the nodes of fate, again, this is destined, but she's stepping in, like offering her magical touch through her life force to help transmute and alchemize some of these deeper, darker, denser things that are going on. Hygeia comes in and she says, oh, that pattern that you've had your entire life, that you thought that you were never going to get over, that you thought you were never going to heal, that little thing, poof, it's gone. It's alchemized through her vibrant life force, her effervescent aliveness through joy, right? So if things are feeling really deep and dark and dense and gnarly, she is an aspect that we can lean into to help transmute and to alchemize these things. But what I want to emphasize is it's not this spiritual bypassing of it, it's this alchemization through life, through joy. A great way to really like ground this in so you have something to sink your teeth into is through like yoga or kundalini yoga or breath work or even ashtanga. Like all of these various practices, in their essence, it is moving breath, moving life force through these different channels of the body. And as we do that, we're able to clear these blockages in chi, in energy. That is essentially what Hygeia does, through like magic almost. But it's moving breath, moving life force through the channels of the body, through the energetic field that just almost miraculously clear blocks. That is Hygeia's gift to us. But it is still an alchemization. It doesn't have to be this deep and dark and dense alchemization of Scorpio. It can be through aliveness and joy. The other redeeming quality is the moon is trine Isis. Just like, thank goodness. Isis is this high voltage feminine mother magic. In myth, Osiris was killed and dismembered, and Isis traveled through the underworld, through the realms to gather all of the pieces and to breathe life back into Osiris. She holds sacred grief, she holds sacred magic, she holds patience. She is the one that breathes life, who gathers the scattered pieces, who knows how to transverse the underworld, gather the scattered pieces and breathe life back into it. She can be our guide on this underworld descent, and she holds big love, big magic, big patience. And she's in Cancer. She really loves to be there. This is again this motherly sign. Like through this descent, through this transformation, through this death and rebirth and alchemization of the deep and dark and dense gnarly things, we can be held in a mother's love. Through this, we can be held in the magic of a mother's love through this and have her breathe life into us. So we've got two like high magic feminine aspects in really nice aspects in this full moon. Goodness, this is like a little saving grace here. We've talked about all of these different aspects of the feminine that are at play. And this really speaks to this bigger story that is unfolding in 2026, right? The feminine is rising, is reclaiming, and we see all of these different pieces, all of these different aspects of this feminine at play. We've got Venus, our most personal aspect of the feminine, Lilith, dark goddesses. We've got Isis and Hygeia, these high magic feminine, all of these different aspects and levels of her. So what is the masculine doing during all of this? Let me tell you. Mars, the masculine, the willpower, the one who exerts himself out into the world to get things done. Mars is the warrior, and a third stage divine Mars is a a heart-aligned warrior, an open-hearted warrior. Mars is also our willpower out into the world. He represents the masculine energy in self. Mars is together with Persephone and sextile Hecate. What does that mean? Persephone is maiden into queen. Persephone holds the myth of initiation into underworld to then become queen of your own underworld. Persephone is walking Mars, the masculine, through his initiation. Hecate, in a sextile to Mars and Persephone. Hecate is in Persephone's myth. She's the one who witnesses Persephone's abduction into the underworld and is the guide into the underworld. Hecate is the guide of souls between worlds. They are initiating the masculine. They are ensuring that the masculine takes his initiation, takes the descent. Quite stunning. We also have Jupiter conjunct Horus. These are also masculine archetypes. Jupiter is the big benefic in the sky. He is the grace bomb, the great expander. And together with Horus is the divine child. Horus was created from Isis through one of the dismembered pieces of Osiris. Horus is the divine child who then becomes king, who reclaims the throne. So I'm feeling into this Jupiter Horus as the image of what the masculine can become, of what the masculine is evolving into. After taking the descent cannot be skipped. I'm gonna share some words here because I think they'll really serve. The masculine, in his full willing force, chooses the descent and is precisely that choice, that willingness to be undone by what he cannot conquer, that births the divine child. Horus is not born from Osiris's triumph. He is born from Osiris's death and reconstruction. He is the child of dismemberment and the devoted. He only exists because the masculine went under and the feminine remembered him back into being. Mars square Jupiter and Horus is the tension between where the masculine is and what he is becoming. And Persephone and Hecate are the initiators standing at the gate saying, "We know the way. Will you follow?" This is quite stunning to watch. We've got the feminine on her whole reclamation journey of I will rise, I will reclaim. It's giving Inanna rising from the underworld and seeing Dumuzi disrespect her and placing the eyes of death upon him and calling I forget who, to initiate him into the descent, into the underworld. That is what this full moon is giving, quite honestly. Let's get really clear that we all have masculine and feminine energies inside of self. The feminine aspects of self are going to be reclaiming, are going to be breaking out of the box, are going to be stepping into their wild, fullest, most volcanic, creative, destructive self out into the world. The masculine aspects of self are going to be asked to go on an initiation, a descent into the underworld. Now, if you are in a woman body, it might be like, oh yes, this reclamation, that is so divine. And we hold masculine energy inside of ourselves as well. So when the underworld comes knocking, can we surrender our willpower to something that we cannot yet see? Can we trust that we are being guided by Persephone, by Hecate, into this underworld depth to face our descent, to reclaim more of our power? And the same goes reverse in a man's body. If you are in a man's body, it might be more challenging for you to take the descent, for you to surrender to the descent, to forces that are outside of your control, and know that what is waiting for you through that journey is a reclamation of truer parts of self. At least in my experience, I view a lot of toxic masculinity in the world, and that is not the full expression of men. men are hurt by the patriarchy in the same ways, but different, that women have been hurt by the patriarchy. It is really harming to everyone. And as women are stepping up into their full sovereign power, into their full queendom, we are also calling men to do their own descent so they can step into their own kingdom, so they can become the king that they are meant to be. This is not a feminine rising to have power over. We're not doing that pendulum swing anymore. We are asking for equality. We are asking for both masculine and feminine energy to rise in their own right, so we can step into next right relationship with each other, where we can both be sovereign unto self and have power within equality. There is a new way of being arising, and it is mighty beautiful and mighty challenging. I would love to hear how this is showing up for you. I would love to hear what sparks in you. If you enjoy these conversations, please leave me a comment, give me a like, subscribe. It really means a lot to me and does so much to help support me, and I hope to see you next time. Enjoy this week. Enjoy the descent to your best of your ability, and when we do it consciously, it can be so much more fruitful than running away. Love ya.
Ready when you touched me, I thought I see the stars. Remember when you had